Hi, I'm Phyllis from southernfrugal.com. Well, it's time to paint the foyer, so we're going to get started now. I probably paint different than what's the normal way people paint. I actually use a brush, and the last time this foyer was painted, I painted it with a roller. And so we've got some of the roller. I'll show you, see if y'all can see this. See that? So I'm going to take a piece of sandpaper, really, very the lowest grade of sandpaper that I've got, and sand off these little places. It'll make a much smoother finish on the wall, and also fill in little places like that because I want it to look really, really good. But these are the reasons right here that I paint with a brush now. And but the first thing we've got to do is clean out this foyer. I'm going to be moving the clock, the desk and chair, this chair, and this little magazine rack, and of course the rug here. And once I get everything out, I'm going to vacuum all the baseboards and the floor too, really. And I'm also going to take my little sheepskin duster and go around up, several feet from the ceiling there, and make sure that there are no little cobwebs, those little itty bitty spiders that make the cobwebs. And the reason I get those down is because if you paint over them, sometimes they've got dust on them and they'll make a smear mark across. So I've learned over the years to go ahead and clean up the walls. And of course I'll need to take off all of the light switches and the plug-in covers. Now, I painted the woodwork not long ago, and it looks real good now, so I don't really have to worry about painting all this woodwork, which is a good thing. And we're also painting more jewel tone colors in the downstairs part of the house. And the reason we're doing that is because when a lot of the crown molding was taken off, whoops, y'all can't see, you could actually see the colors that were the original colors in this house. And so that's what we've done everywhere but the kitchen, because the kitchen was originally painted, I guess in 1908, 1910, was originally painted a deep aqua color, which I just don't care for at all. So we deviated in the kitchen. I ended up painting it this periwinkle color, which I'm probably going to paint it a different color. But anyway, we're not going with the neutral tones because the house is historic. So we're going to go with the colors that were originally here, which is what we've already done. And so we'll see how that goes, because I think if somebody's interested in buying the house, they're going to know a little something about older homes, and they're going to know these were some of the original colors back in the early 1900s. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get this room cleaned out. Now I want to show you first real quick, so hold on here, how I'm going to move the desk and all. Now I am going to be able to slide these on washcloths. These are old rag washcloths, and all I do is just tip the desk up, and I can't do it because I have to use both hands when I've got the camera. Well, maybe I can, let's see. So we just tip it up, there. So put the washcloth under it, and I'll put one under this back leg and the other two on the other side. That way I'll slide it right across the floor into the living room. And once I've got the stuff in the living room, I'm going to close these doors. And I'll close those off. And I generally try to clean the floor really good before I start painting, because I'm going to be sitting on the floor probably and doing the trim around the white trim on the, the white trim around the doors and around the floor right there. So anyway, we're about ready to get started. I'm going to also move that clock. And really, I'll tell y'all the truth, when I'm moving stuff, unless it's something extremely heavy, I'd really rather do it myself rather than have two people doing it. You know, it just works out better if I can slide it rather than us picking up everything. I'll also put some washcloths under this chair, the chair legs right there. That way I can just slide them right across the floor. And then once I get it to the rug, I can, you know, kind of walk it on the rug over a little bit in the living room. Okay, so we're going to vacuum real good. I don't have my little Bissell vacuum cleaner, so I'm having to use my big one, which is okay. But anyway, I'm going to clean this rug really good. And under the rug, we've got these little non-slip pads. And I actually put those in the washing machine and wash them. And we also vacuum out the back side of the rug just because sand and stuff will sift through. All right, so we're going to get this all done and we'll be back. Okay, we've got the foyer all cleaned out. Can y'all hear the echo? Got all the rug out. The floor's been vacuumed. Now I'll have to vacuum in here again because I'm going to do a little bit of sanding. Of course, we've got to have the big ladder because these ceilings are 10 foot tall, so we have to have the big ladder. But I wanted to show you this. These are the kind of things that those rollers leave. I don't know if y'all can see that or not. There's some. And so what I'm going to do, I've got the finest sandpaper, and all you have to do is just go over it like that, and it'll bump all those off. And again, that's caused from the rollers. And even when you buy an expensive roller, they do the same thing. They leave those little particles there. So it'll be a much better finish painting it with it's probably a 4-inch brush is what I'm going to use. Plus you don't drop as much paint when you do that. So, all right. The other thing I'm going to do is use my little duster, my little lamb's wool duster, to go all up around the ceiling and on the walls to get off any spider webs that are there, because if you run across a spider web, well, I'll show you over here. I think I saw one right over here. Yeah. There it is, see it? And if you run over that with your paintbrush, it'll kind of make a streak of dirt really on the walls. So all those have to be cleaned down. And I didn't see any more. I looked all around, but that's definitely a little spider web there. You can vacuum them off, but I like to use the little duster. Hold on, I'm gonna get that. Here's the little duster here I'm gonna use on the walls. And then this, it's actually a dust mop I'll use up around the ceilings. And then we're going to sand, of course, first. And then I'll use these two to clean it up. So I guess y'all have figured out by now the preparation time before you paint takes a lot longer than it does to actually paint. So anyway, I did fill in a little place right there, a little ding on the wall. And there really aren't any other dings like that because when I painted, I think it was probably 10 years ago, I filled in every hole and ding that I could find. So the walls are in pretty good shape. All right, so we will see y'all a little bit later on. I did take the pictures off the wall. There are only 2 in this foyer area and up the stairs. And I'm leaving the little nail hole things in there so I know where they are, because the paint sometimes will cover up those little holes and I don't want to have to figure out where the pictures go again. So there's my little thing there, and what I'll do, what I'll do is just pull it out as soon as I paint, and then I'll kind of let it get dry a little bit, and while I still know where it is, I'll put it back in, and it just pulls out of the wall. Okay, so we'll be back a little bit later after I've finished all this, and I also will have to vacuum again and vacuum the baseboards and around the edge of the floor where some of this little stuff is going to fall. All the furniture's in the living room now. I just slid it on the washcloths. Well, I'll show y'all. Let me lay this down. All I did was put them in here. There's the desk. And there's the grandfather clock back there, and all I did was just, well, I'll open it up and show you. Of course, there's the chair over there, and the carpet I put over there in the corner, and I'm washing the little stuff that goes under the carpet. It's really like shelf liners, what it's like. Anyway, so I put the washcloths down and just slid it across the floor. No problem, didn't make any marks on the floor or anything. Had to be real careful, of course, with the clock, because those things will swing around. So I had to crank the weights all the way up on the grandfather clock. Okay, all right, we'll be back a little bit later after I get through with this, and we'll be ready to start the painting probably tomorrow. Fresh and early, when I'll be fresh and rested in the morning. And really the sanding isn't going to take that long, because I mean, you can just zip, zip, zip over these walls really quick. And all I'm doing again is just bumping off those little hair fiber things that you get from rolling paint on. All right, so we'll see y'all in a little while. Okay, it's time for me to fix some lunch, and I just wanted to record this real quick to show y'all. This is some of the pork loin I fixed, I think last week. I think I did a video on this. Anyway, it's partially thawed out, and I'm going to put it in the microwave to finish thawing it out. So we're having the pork loin barbecue, and we're going to have some of these green baby limas. And I love this. The yellow rice. Mr. Bucky's backing in for me. He's a wonderful husband, y'all. He really is. That's the noise in the background. Anyway, I'm going to fix half of this because it's just the two of us. And what you do is just put a couple of spoonfuls of butter or olive oil or margarine. Whoops, my camera's falling. And bring the water to a boil and then just dump it in. And you want to bring it back to a boil, and then I'm going to have to dump this out in the bowl. Hold on. Yeah, in order to do half of it, see, all the seasoning was at the bottom of the pack, so I have to dump the whole thing out, and I'm just mixing it up with my fingers so we can get all of the spices in there. And then I'm going to put half of this in the boiling water, and the other half I'm going to put back in the bag and save it for another time, because this really makes a lot of rice. And I want the seasoning in this and when I fix it the next time. Alright, so just going to dump out half of this into that pot of boiling water. Right over there. Alright, that's about half of it. Maybe a little more. And I'm going to use a little funnel to get it back in the bag. I'll actually just put this in the freezer since I've already opened it. Alright, when this lunch gets ready, we'll be back. Okay, we are ready to eat. Here we have our lunch. This is our big meal of the day. This is the barbecued pork sirloin, saffron rice, and a little baby green salad with thin sliced gala apples and some green lima beans and a little bit of garlic toast right there. And that raspberry dressing, there it is. That's the one Mr. Bucky likes. That's his favorite. So that's what's on the little baby green salad with the very thin sliced gala apples. All right, so that's it. We're gonna eat and rest a little while and then go back to work. All right. Okay, y'all, I am just about completely finished in here getting this room ready to paint it tomorrow. And I was able to sand down all the walls with just two little small pieces of the very fine sandpaper. And so now all I have to do is, I haven't finished dusting down the walls with that lambskin dust mop really, because I'm going to go up all up on the ceilings and you know those little spiders that make those little itty bitty webs and then they get dust on them. and you can't really see them standing on the floor, but if you get up on the ladder, like over there, you get up over there, whoops, what happened here? I'm too tired to be doing this. There, totally out of focus. Okay, there we go. I had my hand on the wrong thing. Anyway, here's what it looks like, and most of the black marks from the suitcases going up the steps, I was able to sand them out and pretty much got most of those at the door. So I'm sure one coat's going to definitely do this whole room. I won't have to do 2 coats. So I'm going to clean out the furnace filter. I do that about once a month, but since I was sanding in here, I think I need to go ahead and do it again. Taking off the light switch covers and the plug-in. Took that one off at the door also. And so yeah, I think we're ready to paint. I need to do a few more black marks going up the second part of those steps. Yeah, suitcases, and more suitcases going up the steps. So I think from now on, when we have company that bring in suitcases, I think me or Mr. Bucky needs to take them up the steps because they'll be guests, right? So we need to take them up for them. Because, yeah, I couldn't believe all the marks. Of course, it's been a while since this room was painted. But anyway, okay, so I'm going to sign off now and finish up here. So bright and early tomorrow morning, right after we have our smoothies, we can, or I can go ahead and start painting. Now, I think the temperature went up to 98 today, so Mr. Bucky didn't get to work a whole long time out in the garage. It was unmercifully hot out there. So anyway, him and the dogs decided they'd take a little nap this afternoon, and that worked out great for me because I got a lot of work done while they were napping. So anyway, I'm going to just call this part 1, and then we'll do part 2 tomorrow, and hopefully it'll all be done then. All right, we'll see y'all tomorrow.